People who don't have friends are often judged as lonely or antisocial. But there's something very fascinating about them. They tend to share the same 5 uncommon traits, and that's what I'm about to show you in this video. In today's world, being alone is often seen as a red flag, like something's wrong with you if you don't have a big circle or constant plans. But psychology paints a different picture. Studies have shown that people who spend more time alone often develop rare mental and emotional traits that most people never reach, as a result of distractions from noise, validation, and comparison. So if you've ever wondered why you don't fit in easily, it's not a sign of weakness. It shows that your mind works differently. Here are 5 rare traits that people who don't have friends often share. 1. Deep self-awareness. People who don't have so many friends often spend more time with their own thoughts, and that time alone does something powerful. They are very self-aware. They know what drains their energy, what inspires or motivates them, and what kind of people feel right to be around. While most people are busy trying to fit in, they've learned to understand themselves better and know that they are enough. And that's why you don't see them forcing connections, because they can sense when something isn't real. 2. High standards for connection. People who don't have many friends aren't antisocial. They're selective when it comes to making friends. They've learned that not every smile means sincerity, and not every conversation creates connection. If they meet someone new today, they don't rush to open up. They quietly observe the tone, the energy, the intention. If something feels off, they pull back, not from a place of arrogance, but because their peace is more valuable than forced company. You see, they crave depth, not just presence. They want the kind of connection where silence doesn't feel awkward, where understanding comes without explanation. That's why small talk feels empty and surface-level friendships are quick to fade. They'd rather walk alone than walk with people who make them feel unseen. To most people, it looks like isolation. But in reality, it's emotional intelligence, the awareness that being liked is easy, but being truly understood is rare. 3. Emotional independence. People who don't have friends often learn to rely on themselves emotionally. They don't need constant validation or attention from others to feel worthy. When something goes wrong, they process it quietly instead of seeking approval from others. It's not because they don't care, but because they've built inner stability. They've learned over time that peace comes from understanding yourself, not being understood by everyone else. 4. Deep thinkers. People who don't have many friends often live more in their minds than the noise around them. When they're quiet, they're not bored. They do a lot of thinking, reflecting, analyzing. They replay moments, notice patterns, and question things most people overlook. That's why ordinary conversations can feel draining. They crave meaning, not just small talk. Their inner world is where they feel most alive. It's where ideas form, emotions settle, and clarity appears. And because of that, they may seem distant on the outside, but inside, they're full of thoughts, creativity, and emotional depth. They don't talk much because their mind is already full of conversations. 5. Strong sense of empathy. People who don't have many friends often feel things more deeply, however much they try to hide it sometimes. They notice subtle emotions, a change in tone, a forced smile, an unspoken feeling in the room. But because they've been misunderstood before, they keep their empathy to themselves. They protect their sensitivity by acting detached. Deep down, they care more than most people realize. That's why betrayal hits them harder, and fake energy drains them faster. Their empathy isn't loud, it's silent, thoughtful, and selective. They feel deeply, just not publicly. So if you've seen yourself in any of these traits, don't mistake your solitude for weakness. You're not hard to love, you just love deeply. You're not antisocial, you're selective. And you're not cold. You simply value peace more than attention. In a world that celebrates noise, people like you are rare. You think deeper, feel stronger, and live more consciously than most ever will. So instead of questioning what's wrong with you, maybe it's time to appreciate what makes you different. Which of these traits do you see in yourself? Or do you believe people who prefer solitude are wired differently? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts.